Hi. Now, when it comes to retirement planning, the RSP can be a great tool. It can be a great tool to manage both taxes before retirement and after retirement. But if you're lower income or moderate income, and if you expect to receive the Guaranteed Income Supplement, GIS, then the RRSP can actually work against you when it comes to retirement planning. It can often make sense to melt down your RSP if you expect to be eligible for the Guaranteed Income Supplement. Now, the Guaranteed Income Supplement is a very generous government benefit. It's available to lower and moderate income retirees after the age of 65 if they've started their OAS benefit. And it can be worth over $1,000 a month at a maximum, but it's reduced by GIS clawbacks. So GIS clawbacks are 50% of taxable income, line 23600 on your tax return. So RSP and RIF withdrawals show up on that line on your tax return and will reduce your guaranteed income supplement. It can often make sense to melt down an RSP very quickly to avoid the long sort of series of clawbacks that result from minimum or RIF withdrawals over time. Now, in this video, we're going to take a look at a case study. Now, this is a case study from a larger webinar that we did. We'll put a link in the description for this video for that larger webinar, but we're going to go through an example of how melting down an RSP very quickly, an RSP RIF very quickly, can actually lead to a better result for a retiree who expects to be receiving the Guaranteed Income Supplement in the future. Now, when it comes to GIS planning, Guaranteed Income Supplement, there are a lot of nuances. So I would very much recommend you speak with an advice-only financial planner, a fee-only financial planner, build a retirement plan specific to your situation. Although we're going to show you an example in this case study that can lead to a much higher net worth, much higher estate value, a lot of extra income and liquidity. We don't want to assume that that's going to work in your exact situation. So definitely reach out to a financial planner if you have any questions about how to implement a strategy like this in your own retirement plan. Okay, let's take a look. Let's familiarize ourselves with this case study. So we have got Patrick here. Patrick is 65. Patrick does have some TFSA and registered assets, but not an extremely large amount. So overall net worth, 700,000. Over half of that or so is just in home value. We've got a TFSA and a registered account. Particularly in this case, even though RSPs aren't great for Patrick, because it was a group RSP and there was matching there, Patrick was contributing to it. But now we want to draw that down in a way that maybe doesn't cause as much GIS clawback. So if we go back up here to the income section, we can see later on in retirement, they're getting a little bit more in government benefits, CPP, old age security, but also non-taxable benefits as well. But early in retirement, very limited. So they are getting some. It's 2,300 a year, 2,000, but later it'll be 9. And part of the reason why it's so low in early retirement is that they do have to withdraw that RSP RIF earlier, and they didn't have a chance because to do it before age 65 because it was a group RSP account. So in this case, we're going to look at how can we reduce those GIS clawbacks? How can we maybe improve the plan? Right now, it's not bad. They're ending up with 83,000 at the end, but not a ton of wiggle room. And the success rate is 67%. So as early as age 80, there's a chance of running out of money, certainly by their mid 80s. So we want to see, can we do a little bit better for Patrick here? So let's make a copy of this scenario and, not rename the scenario. We want to make a copy. And then we're going to rename it here. And we're going to use the RSP meltdown in a slightly different way. Now, this might actually impact your plan as well. There's kind of different ways to do this depending on the level of assets. The first thing we're going to do is that we don't actually want RSP withdrawals in early retirement because those are causing those GIS clawbacks. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to zero this out until age 71. And the reason is, of course, at 72, we're forced to do the RIF minimums at that point. So nothing we can do about RIF withdrawals at that. But before then, we can delay. We can have Patrick take from the TFSA instead. So that's the first thing we're going to do. It doesn't help out too much, but it will allow us to do an RSP meltdown. So success rate, about the same. but the platform is now already identifying a couple opportunities. So here we're going to delay CPP until age 70. That also reduces the taxable income in early retirement. And then we've got here the RSP meltdown strategy. So what it's recommending is that we draw enough from that RSP instead of doing all of these withdrawals over a long period of time. When we enable this, it's going to draw it all down much faster. So, here we had a success rate of 82. We're at 151,000, 149 in the TFSA. When we do this, we're now at 200,000. But we've drawn down that account very rapidly. So like Chris said, rather than that death by 1,000 paper cuts, we've now done it all within 3-4 years. Now, this can also apply if you're experiencing old age security clawbacks in the future. You might just be doing those withdrawals earlier in retirement before OAS begins. So same strategy could apply. You might be drawing more to avoid OAS clawbacks later. In this case, we're doing it for guaranteed income supplement. They're still getting that 7,000 or so later on. It's a little bit reduced because they have higher CPP because they deferred it. But overall, now their success rate's 90%. So much more robust plan, not really much chance of running out by age 80, even just a slight chance by age 85, 86. And the 10 percentile is all the way out at age 99. So much more robust plan. The other reason I like this is that, again, from a liquidity perspective, all of it's in TFSA by age 75. So if something happens, if they need access to that capital, maybe it's a repair on the home, they don't have to draw more from the RSP RIF, causing even more GIS clawbacks. They now have all that liquidity that they can use if they need excess funds in mid or early retirement. So I like this approach. It's a little bit different than your traditional retirement plan. It's almost a little bit backwards in the way that we're doing it. We're drawing it out so fast. We're triggering quite a bit of tax there for a couple of years, but it ends up helping because we've got more GIS early on and more GIS, not necessarily more GIS, but certainly a combination of CPP, OAS, and GIS is higher later on in retirement as well. Now, as I mentioned, if you're interested in the rest of the case study, we put a link in the description for this video. Please check it out. If you're interested in building your own retirement plan, please take a look at advice.ca. We put a link in the description as well. You can build your own retirement plan using the platform and then work with a fee-only or advice-only financial planner to validate that this makes sense given your situation. If you don't have a retirement plan in place yet, I would highly encourage you to get one started today. Thanks for watching.